Looks like both teams are ready. Here we go. So map number 5 for game number 5 will be Tears of the Desert. Domination tournament style, which means both will have a large cap point adjacent to their spawn, and there'll be a contested smaller capture point to the northwest side of the map, which can be easily overlapped with radar bubbles, because AA bubbles don't matter in this game format, so it's actually quite simple. So we have the beginning cap for the B and then the A. Now, in random battles, the play usually is a single ship goes B and then the rest of the team goes A. Now that's carrier battles, and other ones you can afford to kind of split. But by having the whole team concentrated on the A, you have maximum firepower and radar on AA that allows it to overlap on the A cap. And then the B cap, you can watch for teams coming in at C, and it makes it easier for everyone to be kind of covered and detection, that type of stuff. But this is not that. This is competitive. DD's immediately split up. Haragumo. Haragumo? That's the first time I've seen that, actually, I think. So we have a Zhao Haragumo going B. I'm guessing it's like a double ship, faster cap on B. And it just makes it a quicker capture, so that might give you like a point lead advantage. Go. We have a Yu Yang Wooster Zhao combination heading over to Alpha, with the Montana presumably taking sort of central location. Oh wow, we actually have a Zhao, Wooster, and Haragumo going other side. So Wooster Zhao combination of cruisers with a destroyer each. One more Daka based in the Haragumo, presumably using IFHE, and is like a mini Wooster. Is pretty damaging and powerful. And then we have the Yu Yang, presumably with a radar, kind of moving up into position, and the caps were nigh on instantaneous with the... Okay, NDA gets it by a sliver. If you check the top points, you see that it goes and then it goes. So you're talking half a second in advance. So theoretically, NDA has a tiny lead, like a tiny little lead, but it's enough. It's one tick. So you're going to need to get a point accumulation or a stall or a kill to catch up for AONO. But it's a long game to go, so we'll see how it plays out. Now, the enemy team composition is one Republic, kind of more accurate long-range fire, one Wooster, not two, but they have a Mosfa instead. They only have 2 Raiders. Oh, they have 3 actually. They have Yu Yang as well, and they got 3 Zhaos. So AONO is taking the second destroyer, and they're keeping with the setup, and that allows them to have better detection and, you know, splitting up on either side, and they have 2 little combat groups with the Montana or the battleship, and, you know, in most cases kind of watching down the center and able to do kind of crossfire in any direction. But it does mean, technically speaking, there's a whole cruiser worth of firepower on NDA's side that AONO doesn't have, so they need to play smart around that. Now you can argue that the Haragumo has really good damage output and can act as a cruiser, so why not just take a cruiser? I mean, presumably because you want to keep it stealthy. It's the front guy, it's in front of the Zhao, it gets first spots, and you can get you don't get surprised with your own guys, your own cruisers. RPF is telling, with the pinging on the map, that there is a force going south of Charlie, not quite spotted yet. And you also see how the team is rotating around Alpha. They've got a rough idea it's there, but they don't want to go into Alpha, because if you go into Alpha, the island chain protects the enemy, and you're exposed when you go into Alpha because there's no real cover, and then you'll get radared and possibly crossfired. So they want to feel each other out, see where the enemy is, see what the ships are, because they don't know what the composition is. They don't know how the team has split and which directions they've gone. Eerie calm before the storm. Here we go. a tail reversing Worcester in the north is spotted by a tail reversing Yu Yang. And we also see a Zhao firing on the Yu Yang, so Yu Yang might just go a bit. We see the Republic from the NDA is really north, like aggressively north, to the point where he is not in like kind of the central area where he can support both teams. So the South group doesn't have to worry about kind of battleship fire, so they can actually move up pretty aggressively if they don't see anything. So we see here that what the AONO team needs to know is they want to know is where is the Moskva. They know where the Worcester is, roughly, and they see him again, so that's the Yu Yang using its kind of stealth detection to get in close enough. So he sees it, the Worcester's radar is 9.9, but if he knows the radar was already used and he was tailing and he was able to escape, he can now safely move up, because again, they've calculated what the recharge time on the cooldown of the radar is. That allows the four ships, to counterfire. However, the Yu Yang has moved up, realizing detected, has popped his own radar, and now the Yu Yang of 7 seas has been detected. As soon as he gets out at 7.5 kilometers, the radar won't be in effect anymore. But if he's out of detection, they still don't know where the Moskva is. They see the double Zhaos down the south. Possibly 7 seas could gamble, although he doesn't really need to, and he could move into the capture point now and start to contest it, because he knows that the Yu Yang is facing the other direction, and he's got his team back covering his back. Now down the south, still don't know where the Moskva is, but we've got a Zhao Haragumo laying a smoke for the Zhao, and then on the flank he's doing spotting. So smoke trail, Zhao fires from stealth, Worcester fires from stealth, Haragumo doesn't fire, he just lays down torpedoes and he just keeps the sight outside the smoke. And now that he, I'm guessing, is behind the smoke, he can open up with some gunfire as well. There's the Moskva. So Moskva fires on the Worcester. Oh, gets a really good citadel as well, chomping down the AONO Worcester down to about 2/3 health. But the Worcester's now going forward, so he's going to miss that second salvo. But because they know where the Worcester is, AONO and the 7 seas can now reverse and grab the A point, because the Worcester has to get much closer at 9.9 kilometers, which is basically up to the island, but then you're going nose in. You know, you have to get right up to the island, but you're nose in and you can't really escape. And the Yu Yang, we know the radar had just happened, so that allowed the 7 seas to push up and grab A. It's a 4-on-4 fight here, and actually, it's a mirror match. It's the exact same ships against the exact same ships. Down the south, it's a slightly different story. We have Worcester Zhao versus Zhao Zhao. So there's a difference in that the Zhaos are slightly more tanky in terms of damage zones. Wow, and then just the Worcester takes another jump shot, and here comes the Moskva, and it's like this extra ship that the Haragumo can't make up for. Somehow this AONO Worcester is still alive. All right, these comes the AP shots, that's it. Now he's down, he burnt down. But at the same time, Ghost is going to chump down. Now what happens next? Is there some sort of punishment here? Because Rage Pure from AONO is on the border. He's going to have a hard time firing with all these guns. But he's broadside. Oh, but his speed is crippled. Incoming torps from Nico. Now, does Nico get punished here with AP salvos? Is Rage able to dodge some of these torps with a kind of border skimming? Is he able to counter torp? Ah! No! He takes it and he goes down. And he isn't able to counter torp. And now we have a very difficult situation where the Haragumo is trying to kill off the Zhao to balance it, but this Moskva, positionally wise, is almost immune from the Montana. Well, not now, because he's in sight again. And he actually, speaking of the devil, here comes the Montana shots. Misjudges the speed slightly, gets a good hit, but the Haragumo is... What?! He gunfires down the Zhao? Did he get a torp? I turned away for 2 seconds. And the Haragumo's going too quickly. He's out of his own smoke. The Moskva should farm off the Haragumo here. He's actually, I tell you what, he's inside the detection range, but the Moskva can just radar. Yeah, with accurate gunfire, you have to assume that he is being radared. Yep, he's just going forwards. He's not going to challenge reversing anymore. That's pretty much game over for the Haragumo. There's no reason why the Moskva should lose here. While that's going on, the enemy Yu Yang was spotted very near A. There goes the Haragumo. So the Moskva will take B. So the NDR Moskva is in B, and the Yueyang was threatening A, but now that they know how the result has ended in the south, they don't actually need to threaten A. They don't need to, you know, use their Yueyang to go after A because, well, there's no need. We'll get the B cap, and point-wise, we're already in the lead, and we'll accumulate more of a lead this way. So Snow White from AONO has to go south. He'll have the sighting advantage over the Moskva, and if the Moskva used the radar, he'll also have the advantage that he won't be radared, and he can try and punish the Moskva, because he knows where he is. He's roughly behind the island hiding. But that's still going to be a relative amount of sailing time, and then that then reduces this to a 3 versus 4. And this all comes back to the fact that AONO took 2 destroyers. And even though the Harugumo had some good firepower, he's not sharing his load of tanking. And then also the way that the ships were, maybe you can say that AONO people got caught in or pinned, or the Moskva helping the 2 Zhaos in the south, getting them from a flanking fire, was quite powerful. Especially the one Worcester that was squishy, and he was basically getting crossfire and he had no way of escaping. So what does AONO do now? Because they know they've got their back to the wall. They could try and push the Seoul Moskva, capture B, and then kill off the Moskva. But if they abandon A, the enemy NDA team is going to move up to A, and they're just going to take it from the back. So they have to escape, but at the same time not abandon what they already have. And this is an incredibly crucial game, because if AONO wins this, they are pretty much guaranteed a spot in the Final Four in the semi-finals. If NDA wins this, the match record is tied, and NDA will have won their tiebreaker, which is this game here, which means they may, if other games go in their favor, make it into the Final Four. 3 minutes until victory, and we see the Moskva is just going to hide as long as he possibly can. He's immune now to the Zhao from Snow White. We don't know what the vision... Okay, so now the Worcester sees NDR, and now that the fire has happened, he's returning an AP salvo. Pretty painful. 5k? Okay, maybe not too much. So now Moskva is, I guess, how much Daka can Teak... Oh, but this is the thing. He's turning a little bit too broadside here, so he's taking massive AP chump damage. Here comes another AP salvo on Teak. Not a proper hit this time, but the Moskva's taking a bunch of damage. Montana might even be able to get a shot on as well. He's doing that kind of backwards and forwards, so he's throwing the aim ever so slightly. Getting this kill is huge, because it means that the stall doesn't happen anymore in the B. They get the point lead, and they get the capture point back. But we see how NDA knows that AONO is focusing on their Moskva, and now they're counter-pushing with their ships. They've got their Yueyang in the A cap, and they're pushing down on the team. Can they get... Oh, nearly! The Republic nearly got a shot on the AONO Worcester. And this Zhao is going at full speed. He's just going to catch the Moskva from behind. Moskva's got to know that you are being charged by the Zhao. Eventually, he's going to have to go forwards and charge, which he does. And I'm guessing this is maybe a radar by the Worcester, by Teak. Yep, he's within range of the Yueyang, so they see it. Not able to reset the cap, though. So 3 cap advantage now for NDR. Okay. The Moskva goes down to the Worcester gunfire. The Zhao now has to kill off his speed, but in such a way that he can maybe go around the corner and get shots while also capping. But the important thing, he's stalling. However, there's still 2 capture points for NDA, which means they are still going to win this in the time allotted. Oh, deep water torps. Clips the Montana. So that'll be flooding. What can be punished now? The Zhao... Does he want to open fire, though? And that's the thing. And then give him his position away so he doesn't get the cap. I mean, at this point, they're not going to... He wants to grab the cap and then he wants to race back. Montana is isolated in the sense that he is spotted, and now 3, if not 4 ships are going to have an aim on him. Yueyang kind of doing some pot shots. The other Yueyang is trying to do some deep water torps on the enemy Republic. And he's going to have to be a while before he gets his next set off. I tell you, AONO still needs another kill. Trying to use his AP on the Zhao, realizing that it wouldn't really work on the Republic. The Worcester is now using his tail cannon. Zhao grabs B. So he's using the island as much cover as possible. Clipping over and trying to get fires and just harass the Republic in as safe way as he possibly can. Probably a little bit too far forwards. Enemy Worcester on the far side is going to come around the corner. Maybe tap the Montana of Ace, who is on fire and burning. I have to say, oh, wow, that was a big AP shot there, but... Oh, interesting. I think he's going to go down. This looks like 4 fires to me. He's healing. He's trying to live. He might survive a little bit longer, like, I mean, a fraction. But they're on 934 points. Okay, there it goes down, 980 points, 13 seconds to the cap. The Zhao is going out. Maybe he was thinking about C, or maybe he's trying to get a flank. They need to kill the Republic, and they need to kill it in 4 seconds, and none of the shells are going to land in time. So, NDA takes it? Close game, but NDA takes it, and this... AONO was put in the compromising position because their southern team with the Haragumo was 1 DD, 2 cruisers, came against 3 cruisers that had them crossfired. But the initial engagement from AONO was good. They had the Haragumo, he laid the smoke trail, they had the Worcester, they had the Zhao, they had the kind of flanking fire. They were not seen by the Zhaos, and the Zhaos had to push, but crucially, the Mosfa, who was not spotted, didn't know what it was in the right spot. The NDR Mosfa was in the right spot. He was able to get the right detection, and through a combination of crossfire and vision, they were able to pick off that group of AONO. And AONO then, well, they had to rally. They had to not abandon A, but move back, secure their southern cap, take it again, and then re-rally on the team that was pushing them from the north. Very, very close game, but that is going to make it extremely interesting for the results and see who our final 4 is.